Welcome to In Our Community. And I'm Suzanne Barnett, your host. And tonight, I say this a lot, but I'm saying this a lot. We have a spiritual healer, teacher, and life coach, and her name is Sonya Amrita. I nearly had it.
Bibelos.
Bivolo, yes.
Good.
And we're going to have a wonderful show. I'm so glad that you're here, Sonya.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And what I wrote you, and I want to tell the audience, is that if I was able to even remember all your accomplishments and teachings, it would take the whole show. I wouldn't even have to have you on the show. So tell us how this all started for you, Sonya.
It probably started 15 or 20 years ago or more when I was doing my own healing work on myself and healing from being abused as a child or difficulties in my childhood. And through that process, I really came to understand my own healing gifts. And years later, people started coming to me for guidance on some of the same things that I'd healed inside myself.
So do you think that you, in order to be able to do what you do, that you have to have empathy?
Oh, that's a great question.
I
think I do. It's a tool that I use for sure. And I think also one of my intuitive skills is to be empathic. So I can feel what my clients are feeling or feel what my students are feeling sometimes. And it helps a lot. It helps to have had so much life experience and challenges so that I can also understand experientially as well what somebody has gone through and what they are going through. Yeah.
I was going to, well, let's talk about, and then I have a great question, but let's talk about the fact that we're going to talk about love at work.
Love at work.
Or tell about that.
I think that the implementation of compassion at work, when it's done well, it's not sticky and it's not touchy-feely, but it actually strengthens integrity and it makes us more receptive to each other. It strengthens communication at work and allows us also to really speak what's true for us and makes us better marketers, makes us better presentation givers. It just makes us good at sharing what's really true for us and what we know, what we're expert at.
Well, I'm going to be the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But say, take an office with, say, 20 people in it. How do these people get along? What can you teach them?
I think that one of the first most important things is to really listen to each other, to really listen with an open mind, without projecting our own judgments onto the other person, to kind of put those judgments aside and just hear each other. That's one of the first most wonderful gifts. And the other thing is to really think about what's true in any given situation. We have a lot of stories in our minds about how things are, and to kind of clear those stories out and to say what's really true about this situation, and then we can speak to that. And what I find is that automatically those few things can quiet conflict down and can make a more harmonious work environment.
What happens, let's say one of your classes, one of your sessions, that somebody comes in and they say, you know, they're hurting in some way, and they say that they can't change. What do you do with that kind of person?
That's a great question. Two different things. And one is to give them the space not to have to change. That everybody's journey is going to be unique to them, and that they're fine. They're fine to do whatever is most true for them. But the other way of handling it also, then once they feel that they have the space, is to say, are you not changing because you're afraid of what's on the other side? Are you not changing because you're afraid of the unknown? Are you not changing because really you're not ready? Like, it's just not time. And most of the time, my students at least, I think the case is that there's something, they're afraid of what's on the other side, or they're afraid of the unknown, and to be able to walk them through that and have support to go to that unknown and the other side is what allows them to change.
Could you tell us a little bit about, we haven't talked about this at all, but would it be okay if you talked about a technique that you use? You know, maybe give an example of somebody, you know, a student, without mentioning his or her name.
Yeah, it's great. Would you like that about how someone changed, get through a process of fear, or embracing more love. Which one?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. Just the other day, I was working with a client about her fear of change. And there's some key questions that I can offer that person. And one is that, you know, what is the cost? What is the cost of staying where you are right now? And it brings the person into a thought process around, what am I choosing? And what do I want more than what I'm choosing right now? And I think sometimes the fear can get so big in us that we forget that, you know what, we do want something more free, more alive, more loving. And when we think about that positive thing that we want to step into, then it's much easier to create change rather than thinking about what we might be letting go of or might be different. And then when I'm working a technique that I'll use with somebody who's embracing more love in their lives is total self-acceptance. And my key, this is my little secret for people, is to help people to get in touch with what I call their core essence that's already innately whole and innately perfect and innately worthy beyond worthy. And all of our behaviors and our thoughts and our emotions, they're on the surface. But what's at our core essence is what's already whole. And what I found is that when people can begin to feel that, even that the idea is opened to them, they can begin to really heal and rest in that. In fact, the other night I had a client crying just to hear the words that, oh, I'm good inside, like something in me is innately whole and good. That can just be very healing to know the concept.
So self-acceptance is so difficult, though, don't you think, for all of us, really?
Yeah.
Especially if our childhoods have been screwed up.
Yeah, very much
You
so.
know, to get to another level. And you do that. Tell us some more stories. I love to hear stories.
Stories are good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, actually, I was talking to a client about she has a lot of judgment on herself, right? She's a lot of judgments about herself, and she holds herself to a very, very high standard. And what I said to her was, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a survival mechanism that you created to keep yourself alive. That says, if I criticize myself, then I'll be galvanized to change, right? I'll be galvanized to grow, and I won't be stuck, and I won't be hurt. Here's the thing, though. There's another way to change that's even more empowering and will create even more change in your life, which is to give yourself compassion for your faults. Be patient with how you're struggling. Be patient with what you don't know. And then when you're able to do that more and more every day, and you can just give yourself room to be the imperfect human that you are. I'm imperfect. Everybody's
you're
imperfect.
not. You're perfect.
Oh, I'm
Come
sure.
on.
Now, bless your heart. But you can ask my husband. I'm so not perfect. But when we give ourselves room, you know, to accept our imperfections, that's when acceptance can start. Isn't that funny? It's like when we allow ourselves to be imperfect, then we can accept ourselves as we are, and then we can really change. That's when change really takes off.
But what are the steps to accept ourselves? And maybe we should get back to the love at work.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
good.
kind of going in different directions.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Good steps for self-acceptance. Number one, this is probably the hardest one, actually, so it's hard to start with this one, but to be really honest with ourselves about who we are and who we're not. And there's a couple parts to that. And one is that core essence I was talking about, right? That we are not all of our actions. We're not all of our behaviors. We're not all of our emotions. And we confuse ourselves with those things. That's just what we do. That's not who we are. Who we are is something much deeper and much more profound. So when that idea comes in, now we've taken the first step towards self-acceptance, right? The other thing is when we're honest about these behaviors that we have, when we know that they're really not us, they're just what we're doing, then we can have a little bit more clarity when we're self-reflecting. Oh, look, I performed that completely crazy behavior. Oh, well, that's not who I am. That's just what I'm doing, and I can change that. I can grow. And that's okay. And knowing that I can grow and change again gives me more capacity for self-acceptance. I think the third thing that's really, really important, and this goes back to compassionate work, is embracing that there's a bigger field of compassion and love than just our personal human hearts. So we have an association of love that's very personal, falling in love or loving our parents or loving our children. But there's, my experience of it, is that there's a loving river of compassion in the universe. And it's not personal. It just exists because it exists. It's what creates life. And when we embrace that, then it's much easier to feel love for ourselves and love for everyone around us. Did that answer the question?
It does.
Okay.
But I keep thinking that so many people are so screwed up. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to be cynical, because I really do like people. I've gotten myself into a lot of trouble. But, but we won't go there. But the thing is, I have to take one of your classes. But the thing is that how do we get, how do I get myself to change? I mean, how do we do that? You know, generally speaking. Don't you think people have to just really be down and out to get help? What do you think?
I love that question, because I'm going to answer it in a little different way.
Okay.
And it's great because I can answer it for you, right?
Okay, yeah.
Is you and everyone listening to this has an immense beauty and potential that they haven't accessed yet. And most of them haven't even realized that it's there. And when I'm sitting across from someone in my office, and I see suddenly that essence I'm talking about, it's unique to them and it's beautiful to them. And what I want to say to every person is, be more of you. That should motivate you to change. That you have the capacity to be even more and realize even greater potential than what you already have. And can you say yes to change, because there's an even better you inside of you already that's waiting to come out.
But what if I don't believe that?
If you don't
I mean,
believe
yeah, how are you going to get me to believe it?
If you don't believe that, then I would say to you, is this the only reality that you want to live? Is this the reality that you're most attached to? Do you want to stay in this place just as you are? Because if you do, God bless you, and I surrender that, you know? But if not, I have to make sure that you're attached to believing that you don't have something good inside of you. And if you're not attached to it, then there's the opportunity for change.
That really, I can feel that.
Oh, good.
No, really. Good. I mean, I'm going to ask you these questions because it's so, I mean, I'm just projecting. And, I mean, we all want to change to some extent. We all want to feel better about ourselves. But getting with somebody like you, I mean, I can just feel the fact that you have compassion, and that, like what you said, if you don't want to change, it's okay. Because, oh, here's another question. Do you think that you can change anybody else except for yourself?
No. No, absolutely not. I mean, I can only take my clients as far as they're willing to go, and one of the things I try to do in sessions actually is mirror back to them their innate wisdom that they might not even realize that they have. They're not necessarily in touch with it, or it's not conscious, but it's in there. And every single person who comes to me who's really ready to change has that wisdom. It's their own innate wisdom that's trying to lead them forward and lead them through. And if they're not willing to change, then again, you know, you can't change anybody else. You can support someone to change, you can love someone in changing them, you can reflect back to them their beauty and grace, but that's about all we can do. Then we have to surrender and let go.
But the fact that you had such difficulty in your life a long time ago, what were the steps that you personally have taken?
That's a great question.
To get to where you are? You know, you're really a spiritual healer.
Yeah. One was that I was determined. I really had an intense determination not to carry the abuse with me through my life. Because I realized that if I let it haunt me, that I was letting my abusers keep abusing me. and I didn't want to do that. I realized I have to heal this. I have to heal this all the way through, whatever it takes and whatever that's going to look like. The second thing, though, was I loved God. That was something that I had from very early on. And so to know that there was a grace out there with me, surrounding me, all around me, whatever, really helped me to change, really helped me to feel supported through the healing. And it made me step even more into the grace of God. It made me step even more into awakening, into enlightenment, and want to pursue that even more. So those were really key, important things in my personal journey.
I bet it's so fascinating for you, Sonya, to guide people, your clients, and to get them into another place.
Yeah.
What is it like when they change?
Yeah.
I mean, what have you noticed about them? And then what you notice is not necessarily what they may feel about themselves, but,
Yeah.
What is that like?
Oh gosh, it's so amazing, because I feel like each human being is like this miracle, this miniature miracle or big miracle, as the case may be, in life. And when I see them step more into themselves, that's what it feels like to me. It's like they step more into their essential selves, and they're even more empowered. And it's like they have a new ground underneath them to know, to speak, to love. And it's endlessly touching to me. I was saying to my class the other night that every single human being, when they're waking up, they become their own unique laboratories for what living the love of God in life, what that looks like. And I find every single individual laboratory a miracle. I just find it fascinating to see how people grow and change. So it's really
What
beautiful.
if a person doesn't believe in God?
If they don't believe in God, then I think two things. One is that I always want to ask them, do you not believe in religion, or do you not believe in God? Because those two things get mixed up. And I think that most of my friends who are agnostics or atheists, what they would say is that they do feel love in the universe, or they do feel that life force underneath everything. And for me, that's God too, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And then I think when it comes to me working with them, I've worked with people actually who weren't sure about their spiritual path, or who don't necessarily believe in God, and I just meet with them where they connect most with that force, or with that love that they believe in. Yeah, whatever.
And you can help them through that. What is your biggest challenge?
Working with clients or students? What is my biggest challenge? That's a great question. I'm not sure exactly how to answer that, but what I will say is this, is that one of the most challenging things to meet someone with is when they're in so much fear that they're gripping onto the situation they're in. They're really attached. They're afraid to change, or they're gripping onto me as an expert above them. And part of my work with them is to restore them back to being their own expert, restore them back to their own wisdom. Sometimes when we're afraid, we lose ourselves, right? I think I've felt that in my life, and
Of course.
yeah, maybe you know what that feels like. And so I think that's a key piece, is restoring them back. But fear can be challenging. Yeah.
And how do you get your clients? I mean, how do they come? How do they come to you?
Yeah. Mostly word of mouth, actually. And I think through my clients, or through my classes, I advertise my classes as well. But it's great, because I think that when a client has a breakthrough, then they can say to a friend who's having that similar struggle, hey, this might work for you too, maybe, come and check it out. And I give free 30-minute consultations to introduce, so people can get to know my work, which I think helps a lot, because it's hard to take that first step and take that risk and trust a new healer. So I think having an introduction helps. Yeah.
Do you think that you'll be doing the same kind of thing that you're doing forever?
Forever?
Forever. I'm not saying the next 10 years, because I'm saying forever. I'm curious.
That's probably not, I would guess. I think it will
Really?
take different forms. Does
Like
that make
what?
sense?
Yeah, like what?
I don't know yet, but I just have this sense that I think that as humanity changes, as the needs change, as my community changes, and as I grow and change, that I might be teaching different kinds of classes. I might be, writing different kinds of articles. I have no idea exactly what will come. But, I listen to my own guidance, or I call it the inner compass, to show me the best and most aligned way to go. And I'm always asking, what's in the highest truth? What's in the highest good for everyone? And that's how I make my decisions about what I do.
So, are you meditating? Do you meditate?
Mm-hmm. I do meditate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great practice to ground and get settled and listen. Listen to the flow of life. Listen to the inner compass or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, I think you're just great. I
Oh,
really
thank
do. And I saw you, being interviewed on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. One of the nicer YouTube things.
Right.
But could you just, we're practically at the end of the show, but could you just tell us a little bit about your classes, and do you work with like the office thing?
Oh, yeah. Right now, I'm doing a class that's Buddha at Work, and in that class, we're really diving into kind of the radical way of still staying present with our spiritual lives and with God or awakening, but meeting the demands of life, whether it's stress or need to make money or conflict with our bosses or whatever it might be. How we speak our truth, how do we stay compassionate, all the details of how we stay compassionate, how do we act in true service, what does it mean to be in true service. So that's one of the things that we're covering in class right now.
How do we stay compassionate?
How do we stay compassionate? It's with ourselves. Absolutely, that's the ground, is staying compassionate with ourselves. And then it's effortless. It's truly so much more effortless to be compassionate with everybody else. I mean, if you say to me that you feel that compassion in me, it's because I've done all that work of self-acceptance inside and continually do it. That's a never-ending process. It's a journey of being present with myself right now and being accepting and compassionate with my human, imperfections and perfections and whatever. And so it's much easier to be compassionate to someone else.
And does this really help people, in the workplace?
Definitely. The feedback I've been getting is that what my students are experiencing is greater confidence in themselves and trusting their instinct, trusting their own inner compasses, that they're able to reach out and hear their customers or their clients or their coworkers in a more accepting way, but also even keeled and really giving their coworkers space to be who they are. And it causes less conflict in the work environment. And I got great feedback from someone recently that they felt more empowered to ask for more money because they were really standing in themselves and their true worth and their true value.
But let's just go back, to summarize this. Number one is to be a good listener.
Great.
And
you're very good at that.
Well, thank you. No, but you learn so much from the other person if you're a good listener anyway.
It's true.
But I've said this on the show before, and I probably shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it. I think 95% of people are poor listeners, and it's something that we all need to really learn and accept. And the other thing that I read, when about this office, this love at the office, is it, and you've said it in another way, if I may see if I'm saying it right, that if I don't love myself, there's no way that I can love you.
Right. That's right.
So we have to get to the place where we love ourselves, and that's what you teach.
That's right. That's perfect. Thank you.
Am I right?
You are right. You got it. See? You're already a master.
I am? I don't think so. So, in conclusion, I think that you're a very special person. I'm so happy to have had you on the show, really.
Thank you.
And you will come back.
It's been an honor. It's wonderful to meet with someone so authentic. Thank you.
Thank you. we do have a couple of minutes. I have my wonderful floor director. So I'm trying to think of something that we can say to the audience. I'm trying to think of a question to ask you. What would you say? If you could only say 2 things, what would they be?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say that I invite everyone in the audience to take a look inside and see what their greatest potential just might be, to open to their greatest potential, and then to say yes to that. And the second thing I'd want to say is to see if they can embrace and look at greater love around them and all around them. See if they can feel that pulse of life, that pulse of love that's running through all of creation, and see if they can let that into their hearts a little bit more every day.
How about the 3rd and 4th question? Not questions. Your philosophy, your teaching.
Third one, I would say to everyone in the audience, I would say to also invite that there's a possibility of a bigger movement of life and a bigger movement of universe. Not just the love, but just a movement of life. That our small little realities that we live in are just a little tiny microscopic part of creation, and that when we bring our awareness back to what's bigger than that, everything seems more relative and a little lighter.
No, that's okay. That's perfect. We don't have to go to number 4.
Good.
We'll do that next time.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
only wish you the very best of good health and success, and all the people that are associated with you are very, very fortunate. And we're very fortunate to have our excellent crew, and I thank them so much. And of course, our audience, very important too. And I'm going to send out love to the audience. And please keep watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye.